Today on Inside Business, we want to uncover various developments that are panning out in the real estate industry, an industrial sector that is experiencing exponential growth reflected by the number of activities and developments that are panning out in this key sector of the domestic economy. This is Inside Business. Hello viewers, as you're still tuned into Inside Business, where today we're focusing on the real estate industry, wanting to get a comprehensive understanding in terms of various developments that are emerging in this particular strategic sector of the domestic market, wanting to get understanding in terms of various developments that are emerging in this particular sector of the economy, which is experiencing quite exponential growth as reflected by the number of construction activity that is taking place in this particular industry. Today we're joined on Inside Business with one of the key player in this particular industry, that is Mr. Ken Sharpe. Thank you, sir, for joining us on Inside Business.
Thank you for having me.
All right, so just starting off our discussion, Mr. Sharpe, what's your take in terms of the real estate industry? We're seeing quite a number of developments are emerging or panning out in this particular sector of the market. What's your take in terms of the general state of the real estate industry?
I think the real estate industry in Zimbabwe at the moment is going through a boom. Over the last few years, if we go back maybe 5-6 years, in the Second Republic, we've taken the view that we wanted, it was a look and see. Like many other foreign investors in Zimbabwe, there's been a look and see approach for many, many years. But during these last 5-6 years, we've become more gradually encouraged by what we're seeing in the environment. And our optimism, our level of confidence has grown. So I would say we've gone from being positively cautious to now being positively optimistic. And I think if you look at the amount of construction going on, you can see outside here this building going up. We're on the final level of Millennium Heights, Block 3. And if we look at this whole area of 𝗙𝗢𝗦𝗬𝗧𝗜𝗢𝗍, there's a lot of construction going on. We've identified at least 20 of our competitors just within 1 kilometer of this building going up. We've identified about 360 new units of clusters of townhouses at a value of $100 million. So $100 million in Zimbabwe is a lot of money. $100 million in America is a lot of money. And to think there's 20 developments going up or that have been built in the last 2-3 years already, it's quite encouraging.
All right, so looking in terms of growth, we can safely say that there is growth in this particular industry.
Absolutely.
And what is anchoring this growth?
You know, that's the paradox in Zimbabwe. Most people think Zimbabwe is in economic decline, Zimbabwe has economic challenges. I think there are issues in Zimbabwe, but when you look at the success stories, let's start with the GDP growth in Zimbabwe. If we go back to when our economy dollarized for the first time in 2009, we could safely say that the economy then was about $12 billion. Today it's conservatively estimated to be between 36 and $55 billion, which means this economy has grown at least 300% in the last 15 years. That means double-digit growth every year. But when you look at IMF reports, World Bank reports, even our own internal reports, they're talking of 5-6% growth. I think it's more than double that.
All right.
So that underpinning of the economy growing creates more money in the market. It creates more confidence in the economy. And if we look at how the market has shifted from being a formal economy to an informal economy, there's a lot of cash in this economy. 90% of the business being done at the moment is in US dollars. And this is what's really driven the country to grow and given confidence to the real estate sector.
All right, Ken, so help me understand in terms of the challenges that are being faced in this particular industry. We know we are quite experiencing a number of challenges across the economic board, looking in the manufacturing industry, the tourism, the agriculture industry. There are quite a number of challenges that are inundating these particular sectors of the economy. And I know that the real estate industry is not being spared by various macroeconomic developments that are currently emerging in the domestic market. In terms of the challenges, what are some of the pertinent challenges that are being faced by the real estate industry?
Look, I think in all industries, the biggest challenge is the volatility of the exchange rate. So let's deal with that elephant in the room as a starting point. It affects real estate, it affects every industry in Zimbabwe. But when we look at the fundamental problem of the real estate, the exchange rate mechanism, in terms of monetary policy, yes, we have a problem that the rate is volatile. And we've seen the rate earlier this year go up to almost 8,000 or 9,000 to 1 on the parallel rate, and then has dropped down to below 7,000. And even the auction rate, we saw it rise very quickly and stabilize. So when we have this volatility, what it creates is an unexpected horizon, which is difficult to calculate your risk premium. Zimbabwe has a risk premium, not so much because of the politics in Zimbabwe, but because of the unknown exchange rate in the economy. And the exchange rate that used to affect, let's say, 90% of the economy, now only affects 10% of the economy. Because if we rely on the statistics given last week at 𝗙𝗥𝗢𝗠, we can say that there was over 90% of loans and money supply now in Zimbabwe being in USD. And total transactions, I think the number was 87%. So we can safely say about 90% of the economy is in USD. That means 10% is Zimbabwe dollars. So for the 10% where we have volatility, where we have exchange rate questions, where we have price instability, and what I would even go on to say is price distortions, because you'll see one price in one supermarket of eggs being sold at $7 and another supermarket $5, but eggs should be $4. And the reason for that is because of the exchange rate mechanism. So this little problem of 10% is creating a big problem for all of us. So my view is, firstly, it's the exchange rate and the Zim dollars that needs to be solved. And then the second problem relating to real estate, I would say, is the availability or unavailability of materials. I think we need to become more competitive. I think the borders really need to be opened up and all barriers removed. I'm calling on government to take away all tariff, customs duties on building materials for a period of at least 5 years, so that we can have as many materials coming into Zimbabwe at the most cost-effective price, because we want to deliver a better price for our customers. And in order to do that, we need to be able to compete on a global scale. There are inefficiencies in producing things in Zimbabwe. It's a higher cost base to produce. So my view is that the government should open up, allow imports to come. And there's no reason why our cement should be more expensive than Zambia or South Africa. There's no reason why our bricks should be more expensive. There's no reason why the finishing of finishing bathrooms and electricals, these accessories and hardware, we should be able to bring them in from any country. So that is the second challenge. The third one, in Zimbabwe, there's been a brain drain over the last, as we all know, over the last 15 years. A lot of our skills have been lost. And I think as developers, we should promote people to come back home, because there is a skills shortage, and we are paying better salaries now in US dollars than our neighbors are in South Africa. So there's a reason for our brothers and sisters to come home, and we should encourage as developers those people to come home and enhance the labor, enhance the skills that we're getting in Zimbabwe by providing good jobs, by providing training, and providing the projects so people can come back home and work.
All right, so in terms of the existing opportunities in the real estate industry, as a key player yourself, what can you say, or what do you attribute as some of the key existing opportunities in this particular industry?
Look, there are many. I mean, we are focused in a very small niche of the Harare market, in the top end of the market. But if we look at the national crisis, there's between 1.5 and 1.8 million shortage of people waiting on a list to get homes. So there's a huge demand of homes that need to be built. And government has made it clear that they cannot deliver these homes on their own. They need to partner with the private sector, with companies like ourselves and many other developers in delivering these houses. Our vision is to deliver up to 1,000 units a year. And we have a pipeline that we're building to be able to deliver 20,000 units. But even when we get to that number, which is a huge number for us as a company, it's only 20,000 units out of a million plus. So the opportunity is big, especially in the middle and lower income areas where you have high density, low cost housing. I think there's great opportunities for developers to look at that. And then if you move away from housing and look at the commercial sectors, so we have retail, shopping malls. You can see the likes of Highlands Park that's built already 3 malls. You can see other developers coming up with malls in the northern suburbs. We ourselves are looking at the Mall of Zimbabwe starting next year in 2024. Office parks, there's a lot of office parks in Millennium where we're sitting today. We have land that we sold to other developers where we can see at least 200,000 square meters of office park being built in this area alone, just in one area and one piece of land in Borrowdale. That's 200 to 300 million US dollars of office parks. And then if you go to industrial warehousing, you can see Pomona, for example, it's really popular, the warehousing that's been built there. There's a demand for warehousing, and there's definitely an opportunity. If you look at rentals, they've risen from $1 or $2 a square meter to between $5 and $10 a square meter now for the same warehouses. So I think property has gone through an immense growth of price in the last 5 years, and it's very buoyant at the moment, and that creates opportunity.
All right, so looking in terms of the demand side of the real estate industry, can we safely say that there is effective demand in the real estate industry, especially taking into consideration various macroeconomic developments that are obtaining in the domestic market?
Absolutely. We wouldn't have the confidence of putting up these buildings. There's 112 units standing in front of you today. It's a record for us, this building. In less than 10 months we've put it up, and I think we can safely say that all of that building is sold out completely before it's finished. The next building that we're breaking ground on now, Block 4, has 86 units. We've already sold 40% of it and have not even put one brick in the ground. So I think demand is definitely ahead of supply, and that's what's creating the pressure on price. And I do believe that we still haven't reached a ceiling of price. I do think the Zimbabwean market will continue to rise in price.
All right, so we have had quite a number of complaints in the real estate industry to the effect that there are many bogus players in this particular industry. What's your word of caution to the viewers watching the program with respect to bogus players that are currently mushrooming around the real estate industry?
I think do your homework, know who you're working with, go to the authorities themselves, whether it's the City of Harare or the Register of Deeds, to check on the validity of the title deeds, to check on zoning. It's important to make sure where someone is building, they have the right zoning, because you don't want to be buying a property, for example, that's zoned residential where someone is building commercial, and then after many years find out the building has to be demolished. So my advice would be to check on the zoning, check on the land use rights, and check also on the permits. Does this developer or agent who's selling this property really have a development permit? Do they have approved building plans? These are records that can easily be checked at the City of Harare. And lastly, the issue of unscrupulous estate agents. There's an estate agents association. Go to this association and make sure that they're registered, make sure that they are legitimate. But also, we have a philosophy and policy in our own business that we don't sell through estate agents. We sell directly to the market. We try to remove the cost of having an estate agent, and we deal directly with our clients. So there are developers like that, and my advice to the clients out there is do your research properly and make sure you know who you're working with.
All right, in terms of the products that you're currently providing in the market, are there any other new products that are coming up?
Wow, you got me excited there, brother. Now I can get talking. Yeah, we have a lot of new products. Our whole company's view is not a short-term one. We look at the future of Zimbabwe. We don't look at today or tomorrow or next month or next year. We're looking at the next 10, 20, even 50 years ahead. In fact, our corporate strategy statement is to put 1 billion bricks in the ground by 2050. And in putting 1 billion bricks, we've calculated the amount of land that we own, and we've worked out that it takes 1 billion bricks to build all the buildings that we need to build on the land, which is about 4 to 5 billion US dollars. So if we unroll that plan over the next 27 years, we have to continually think ahead of the market. And that's called a pipeline. So our sales pipeline is way ahead of what you currently see in the market. As I mentioned, we're just finishing Block 3 at Millennium Heights. We've broken ground on Block 4. Block 5 we've already designed, which will follow later on next year. And then if we look across the road at Pokagara, where we're building the 70 last remaining townhouses and of clusters in that development, we then move on to Pomona City, which is a great city. We'll be launching it next year. We call it Pomona 2.0. Currently, we're servicing the last phase of B and C, phase 1 B and C, which is about 550 stands. There's more than 750 stands there in phase 1. And as we go into 2.0, we're bringing Dubai to Zimbabwe. We're bringing something really exciting. I can't say more than that, but keep tuned in for the launch, which will be mid next year. And approximately sometime next month, around this time next month, we have a very big announcement for Warren Hills. We're looking at going into ground on Warren Hills to bring the luxury awaited Hills estate. And this luxury lifestyle estate has the first branded residence in Africa, a world-class 5-star hotel, a shopping mall, a 12-floor tower of penthouses, and 860 residences around the luxury golf course, that we've redesigned this golf course, the old Warren Hills golf course, into a PGA championship length golf course with PGA standards. A world-class designer came in. We had a team of experts from Spain, from Portugal, from Morocco, from Dubai, from South Africa. They all came in together last year in April, and we designed this project. The City of Harare is actually our partner in this project. They're a 30% equity partner. And we met the mayor just last week, Monday, and had an encouraging response from them that they want to see us build the city. They want to work together with developers. And we're really excited about this product. That will be our most exciting product on the market to date, and we're confident of launching it within the next month.
Quite interesting. And also considering or looking into the future, are you also considering coming up with low-cost housing for the low-income earners?
You know, everyone has to focus on what they're good at. And as I said to you, we've got a 27-year plan to build what we already have. And we focused on the segment that we're in, which is upper middle income. We bring affordable luxury to our customers, and that's the segment we're comfortable in. There'll be others who can do affordable housing. We've been given many offers of land, of new cities being built, of new developments in Bulawayo, in Kwekwe, in Gweru. People have come to partner with us, but so far we've said no to everything because we're very focused on delivering what we need to.
All right, so we've discussed at length in terms of some of the developments that are taking place in this particular industry, and you indicated that there is exponential growth that is being realized in this particular industry. So looking in terms of the recommendations, what are some of the general recommendations that you want to pose to the government in order for them to further spark growth in this particular strategic sector of the domestic market?
So my recommendations to government is keep doing what you've been doing in the last 5 years for the next 5 years. Focus on simplifying laws and regulations, creating policies and a framework that's easy. The ease of doing business in Zimbabwe should be accelerated. Our president's vision to have upper middle income society by 2030 is real. It's possible, it's achievable. Ecuador, I was looking at the other day, who dollarized the economy in 2009, and within 10 years, in 1999. So from 1999 to 2010, in 10 years, they basically achieved GDP growth from about 50 billion, where you could say our economy is at the same level as Ecuador, with a similar population size, and they grew to over 250 billion, producing a GDP per capita of over $10,000, and meeting the upper middle income society that's talked about in Zimbabwe. So I think if Zimbabweans get behind each other and really deliver the results, it's very possible. And my view is government should create a conducive framework of legislation that doesn't frustrate and complicate business, but allows it to thrive.
All right, so just as a parting shot, what is your outlook for the real estate industry?
Look, the immediate horizon is very positive. If we can continue to trade in an environment with US dollars, and that would be my next request from government, is lift this suspicion that in 2025 US dollars are going to be done away with, they're going to be banned, to give confidence for the future of investors. If we can lift that, I would say definitely we could expect double-digit growth in real estate over the next 5 to 10 years.
Well, that leaves me to thank you for having joined us on Inside Business.
Thank you so much for having me.